All right, how you doing, class? Welcome to week number one. That is right, week number one of your 7314 class, which is your reference class. I am your professor, Dr. Jace K. Austin, and today what we are going to do for our first check-in video is we're going to do a little something different. So, really in this reference course, um, I do the course overview as a synced session, and so the course overview is actually going to come on this coming Tuesday. The date for that being, let me check, the 25th. So we're going to do a course overview in a synced session on the 25th. So we don't actually have to do a course overview here in this check-in video, whereas in my other courses, their first week is their check-in video is their course overview. But what we're going to do is we're going to do what my other classes do in the second week for the check-in video. Basically, we're doing the switcheroo. So I'm going to tell you two common mistakes that are made in APA formatting. And the reason I'm telling you this is because if you watch this video and you learn about these mistakes, then it will help you cite your sources correctly and put your reference list together correctly for your written assignments, and that will cause you to not lose points in the future, because I do take off points for improper APA usage. So I am going to show you those two common mistakes, and then I'm actually going to talk a little bit about myself so that you know a few things about your instructor. All right, so let's talk about those two common mistakes. Oh, actually, no, I've got to do something else first. I got to teach you how to speed up a video in case you don't already know. So I upload these videos into YouTube. Part of the reason I do that is because YouTube does the auto captions. So my students who may need closed captioning for videos, they can actually get that by going on the YouTube and then doing the closed caption selection there. But I am going to show you how to speed these videos up. I talk very slow. I am a Southerner. I'm from North Carolina, and Southerners talk slow. So what I'm going to do is I am going to show you how to speed a video up. And if you do decide to watch my optional check-in videos, then if you watch them at 1.5 speed instead of at 1 speed, then that'll probably be a little easier for you to digest the video and get through the contents and not feel that you're miserable listening to me talk slowly. So let's find one of these here. Okay, how about this one, I guess?
Can find out about different programs. So this is a great way for you to, again, strengthen that relationship, but also establish the library as a place that's willing
to
provide.
In order to adjust the speed of a video, when you go to a YouTube video, what you can do is come here to the settings widget right here.
That for them, and you always want to make sure that their voices are being heard, that their interests in different games, or I don't like using the word obsessions, but they're great passions for these games are important, that you're interested in them, and that the library is the place that'll help enable those passions.
So that's what you're probably going to want to do, speed my videos up to 1.5, and that'll get you through my videos easier, and you won't feel like you're just dying because I'm talking so slow. And that is helpful for my students there. So now that we've done that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you two very common mistakes that are made in APA formatting. And if you pay attention to what I'm saying, you can avoid these mistakes on your assignments, and that will help keep your grade as high as you can possibly keep it. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go to the Purdue OWL. For those of you who are not aware of the Purdue OWL, actually I'll go to Google, and you can just Google in APA Purdue OWL. It'll show up here, and then you can go to it. And this is a free resource that anyone can access as long as they have an internet connection. You can go here, and then what I am going to show you is two very common mistakes that my students make. Even after I make these videos, the students still make these mistakes because they are optional videos. But again, I advise you to pay attention to what I'm saying here and avoid this mistake in the future when you are doing assignments. So the first thing that I'm going to tell you is that one of the mistakes that a lot of students make is they don't initialize given names. So when you are doing your reference list for APA, you do not write out the the given first name and middle name of the authors, even if you have that information, even if you have their first name. Like if I'm Jason Alston, you would not actually write out Jason, or you would not write out Alston, comma, Jason K. You would actually write out Alston, comma, J dot space K dot space. So that is the first thing to know. You should never have those given names written out. Always have them initialized in APA. I will be checking for this, and I will be deducting points if you do not have this correct. So please, again, just initialize. The second thing that I want you all to know is that for titles in your reference list, this works a little differently. And I'm also going to have a scanned section about capitalization from the APA handbook. I'm going to include that in this announcement for this check-in video. And the check-in videos, like I said, are optional. But I'm going to have this announcement. I'm going to post this in the announcement and have this attachment for you. So the capitalization in APA is a little different. The only letters in a book that you would capitalize, the only words that you would capitalize for a book in your reference list, for instance, is going to be the first word of the title, the first word of the subtitle, and then any proper nouns, so names. So for instance, you see here, Alexander the Great, colon, a life in legend. You see that Alexander the Great is actually treated as a proper noun. So Alexander and Great are both capitalized, but you see all of these words are lowercase. And that's what you're going to do with, that is going to be what you do with your reference list for this course. Okay. So again, as another example, we'll scroll down. This is a book title, Writing Your Journal Article in 12 Weeks, A Guide to Academic Publishing Success. You see that the W is capitalized, you see that A is capitalized, but you see that these other words are in lowercase. Okay, so I am going to be expecting you to do it this way because that is the proper way that a reference list is built in APA. Now, if you are doing, this is for books, by the way, and what I encourage you all to do is look through all of these for any type of source that you have cited. You are going to have periodicals cited as well. Periodicals are your journal articles, your magazine articles, and your newspaper articles, things that come out on a periodic basis. So you're going to have a similar type of thing going on here. And again, also you see those given names are initialized. But as you can see, for title of the article, this does not apply for the title of the publication. So this is something this is a lot of nuance, and you really have to keep up with this. But for the title of your article within your publication, you will have that same capitalization scheme going on. You will capitalize the first word of the title of the article. You will capitalize the first word of a subtitle if there is a subtitle, and you will capitalize proper nouns, people's names, and so forth. But for the title of the periodical, those are in the standard capitalization, English capitalization rules. So here's a good example. This is an article from a print journal. The Eclipse of Listening. The Eclipse of Listening is the article title, and as you can see, the only word that's capitalized is the. Eclipse is lowercase, listening is lowercase. However, the name of the journal is the New Criterion, and as you can see, the standard English capitalization metric is actually used there. Also, you will, for your periodical, you will have the title of the periodical italicized, but you will not italicize the title of the article. And then for like web sources, you have some similar energy going on there. And again, you just have to kind of pay attention to how this is being done. Web page. So the title of the web page you see here, it would be italicized, and you would again only capitalize the first letter. The first word of the. You would capitalize the first word of the title. If you have a subtitle, you would capitalize that first word as well. And then you will capitalize any proper nouns. So laziness does not exist is the name of this web page. As you can see, laziness is the only word that is capitalized. Okay. And you see another example here. Justice served, case closed for over 40 dogfighting victims. If you highlight this, you will see that served is lowercase. Case is the first word of the subtitle that is capitalized, but then these other words are lowercase. Now, I know it seems like I'm nitpicking when I say that I'm going to take off points for this, but if you are a librarian, you are going to have to be familiar, at least with how to help people give citation, how to format their citations properly. Thankfully, a lot of universities nowadays, they do have writing labs, including Mizzou, and it's up to the writing labs to help people format their citations properly. But you still, as a librarian, really do need to know at least how to look at a citation style and appropriately copy or appropriately follow directions on how to use that citation style. And if you go into academic libraries, you are going to be publishing, and some places will want you to publish in APA, some in Chicago, and you're going to have to learn the nuances of both. And you're not going to necessarily need to know the entire manual for those citation styles, but I'm just saying that you will be doing yourself a good service by, at least understanding that when you see when you see these things and you see these examples, you're going to want to follow the details in the examples, okay? I'm not forcing you all to buy a APA handbook, because I think that you all can get through just fine with the Purdue OWL and what it offers on APA citation. But double check your citations, especially if you're using Zotero or some similar software like that. Those are not always correct. And the automatically generated citations that you see in journal articles on EBSCO and ProQuest and those sorts of things, those are only correct about 80% of the time. 80% may sound really good, but that means that if you have 10 sources on a paper, 2 of them are probably formatted incorrectly, at least 2. Okay, so those are things to keep in mind there. These are common mistakes. My other classes are going to learn about this in week 2, but they'll be they're doing their course overviews in week 1. We're doing a little bit of a switcheroo. We'll do our course overview during our sync session next week. So you're learning what they learned and what they will learn in week 2. You're learning it in week 1. Now, just to learn a little bit about me, Dr. Jace. I am from Soul City, North Carolina. Yes, that is an actual place, Soul City, North Carolina. That is where I'm from. That is where my dad still lives, as well as my brother and a cousin. I got my bachelor's degree in English from the University of North Carolina at Wilmington in 2005. I got my master's degree in library science from North Carolina Central University, the only HBCU with a library science program. I finished there in 2008, and then in 2017 is when I earned my PhD in library and information science from the University of South Carolina, and I've been with Mizzou since 2018. Some other things that I'm just going to say, I go no holds barred, so I may make people uncomfortable, and I apologize for that, but I am very much an advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And one thing that I'm going to say about that is you're not always, a lot of you are going to be from the Midwest, are going to be from Missouri, Kansas, Iowa, Nebraska, and surrounding states. I do have people from all over. So I do have people from the coast and all that sort of thing. But for those of you who are from the Midwest, I understand the culture of the Midwest. I've been out here since 2018. I do understand this whole thing about Midwestern nice. One thing that you all need to realize is that not everybody was brought up in that culture, and not everybody operates in that fashion. And when I say everybody, I am including myself in everybody. I grew up in the rural South. Rural Southerners have a certain way of going throughout life, and that is how I operate. I operate as a rural Southerner. A lot of people in my previous teaching evaluations have said that I am abrasive or defensive or aggressive, or they say they're not comfortable with me. I hate to sound like I'm trivializing people's concerns, but what I'm going to say is you need to get over it. You are going to work with people in the library profession who are from different regions. Trust me, I am nowhere near as abrasive as a lot of those people, I hate to say it, but people from the Northeast, and I know a lot of people from the Northeast, and I consider them friends, but people from New Jersey and New York and Philadelphia and, Boston and all these places, they can be very abrasive. And if you are not used to them, if you're from somewhere in Kansas and you're not used to that type of personality, just know it might hit you hard. But that might be your supervisor one day. I keep it real. I know that here in the Midwest, outside of urban areas, there are not a lot of Black people. I am Black. In the rural South, you will find a lot of Black people because there were plantations in the rural South. And I am descendant from I actually grew up in the same county where some of my ancestors were enslaved. Having said that, yes, I know that for a lot of you, you may not be used to people who are of different races. You may not have had a Black professor before. That's actually very common. And I might be your first one. For one thing, please do not find yourself looking at me a certain way because of racial bias. That does tend to happen. When people call me abrasive, I'm sorry, but I'm not. I think that people are weaseling around saying that my Blackness makes them uncomfortable. And I am not afraid to call that what it is. But, deal with it. You may have a boss or a coworker who is a different race as you when you get in the libraries, or who's a different ethnicity, who has a different first language. We have a growing Latinx population in this country. So you may encounter people who speak different languages or who come from different cultures or from different countries. And those are things that you just kind of have to deal with. Because one thing that I will say is, before I got this job with Missouri, I was an adjunct professor while working on my PhD at the University of South Carolina. Never had people call me abrasive or aggressive or anything out there, but the culture is very different. And South Carolina actually has one of the highest percentages of Black citizens in the United States, as far as percentage. I don't know about raw numbers, but the percentage of Black people, the percentage of South Carolina's population that's Black is, I believe, one of the top 5, along with Mississippi. And I think at least one other southern state is in that top 5 as well. So, embrace that people might be different from you. Don't think that, oh, somebody's different, so they're abrasive or they're scary to me and I don't feel comfortable asking them questions. No, I just have a different delivery because I'm from a different culture, and you need to adjust to people who are from different cultures. If you have not been outside of the Midwest, and a lot of my students here at Mizzou have not been, not everywhere looks like Kansas and Missouri. I'm just going to call it like it is. The Carolinas do not look like Kansas and Missouri. Neither does New York. Neither does LA. And you just have to get used to different styles. And so that's something that I want to leave with you all, because I do, of the full-time instructors in CISL, I do have the lowest teaching evaluations. And I don't think that it's an accident that I'm also the only Black or brown person in this in this department. And student teaching evaluations in colleges, research has shown that they're racist, they're sexist, and they're ableist. So I want you all to just kind of try to get comfortable with somebody who may not look like you, who may not speak like you, but somebody who is good-natured and wants the best for you, which I can genuinely say I do. And the students who do the best in my courses are the students who realize, yeah, he may talk a little different. He may have a little bit of a different swagger to him, but that's because he's from a different area. He's from a different culture. And, don't see that as a turnoff. See that as something that you can rise to that occasion of working with somebody who's different from you. And trust me, I have to do it myself. I'm in a state that's very white, even though I'm a Black person. The student population at Mizzou is predominantly white. Most of my students are white, and I love them. I love, I love Black people, and I love white people, and I love people. But, I had to adjust to that. There are things that, there are expectations, I'll just keep it real, that white students tend to have that students of color don't tend to have a lot of times, and Black students don't tend to have a lot of times, because we didn't get those things growing up. So this is a learning experience in more than just one way. Yes, I'm going to teach you some things about reference. I'm going to teach you some things about understanding people as well, okay? Because in order to provide good reference service, you really do have to understand people, and you have to be able to navigate people who are different from you. So we're going to leave it there. We're at 20 minutes. No need to go to 21 minutes. Not today. We will have some videos that are up towards an hour long, and I apologize for that in advance. But if you speed me up, then they won't be quite as intense for you. So having said that, we're going to leave it there. I am Dr. J's Peace and Grace, and I will see you next week at that sync session. The Zoom link will come in the announcements probably on Sunday or Monday. Have a good one.